Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3849. Sorry, today's date is January 28, 2026. It's been almost like a night at exactly 8:57 p.m. Okay, let's just jump into the question. Let's go. All right. The question is, what gap exists in a space that feels personal to me and hard for others to feel? Okay, that's a really good question. All right. First of all, what exactly is this question, and why am I asking this question to myself? This is YouTube realization kind of question. Okay, it's a kind of like somebody is this thing na ki these are questions are kind of like somebody give me realization regarding about me, that am I worthy enough to consider myself as a YouTuber or not? Yeah, it's a very essential, because like if I consider myself that I am a YouTuber, then I have to be asked this question to myself, so that I not only understand myself, but as also I would understand my content creation, my execution regarding about YouTube too, and things and that. So yeah, it's a kind of like a realization that am I capable enough to consider myself as a YouTuber or not. So that's why I'm asking this question to myself. Now, regarding about the question says that ki, what gap exists in the space that feels personal to me and hard for others to feel. Okay, yeah, it's very hard to describe regarding about the question. Okay, but I'm kind of like a simplified. Uh, I'm kind of like going to give you a little bit of simplification regarding about what is exactly question it says. The question says that ki, have you found any kind of like a gaps in a content creation field that you can easy to execute, but others cannot able to execute that piece of content? Is there any kind of like a simply ideas that you have, or is there any kind of like a simply execution that you have, or is there any kind of like a simply particular creativity or things that you have? Okay, if you still not really understand, I'm gonna kind of like give you another example. Okay, yeah. So every person, like every YouTuber, kind of like make a video regarding about different topic. Okay, yeah. Different topic means what? Like basically it's this thing. I create a content regarding about graphic designing, specifically visual storytelling. Okay, like I create a poster that kind of like somebody tell us a kind of like a somebody message. Okay, so this is a kind of like a poster that I created. So this is my genre. Genre means a kind of like a simply a type of execution things. Okay, yeah. Like basically a T series is a kind of like a simply audio channel. Sorry, audio like music channel. Okay, yeah. Like there is no vlog is actually uploaded on this T series. They kind of like uploaded only music. Okay, yeah. Mr. Beast uploaded kind of like a something challenges and things and that. Okay, there are so many kind of like a different kind of like a creator, kind of like a different category of their videos. Some people kind of like simply upload their video geopolitics, some people business, some people economics, some people kind of like a finance, some people kind of like a science, some people kind of like simply upload history, some people kind of like upload video regarding about cooking, music, guitar. There are so many type of content. Okay, yeah, literally as I mentioned, there are almost like a billions of ways to execute the creativity. Like maybe a kind of like a billions of ways to kind of like execute a same piece of pattern. Like I don't know how I supposed to explain this thing. A one person can able to make a video regarding about something, but another person can talk about same content but in a different style. Okay, and these are so many things, kind of like a mix and match and things and that. I'm gonna give you another example. Also, Tech Burner is a Indian tech creator, kind of create a tech video. Tech video means like that mobile phone, computer, laptops, AI, all those things. Okay, yeah. He kind of like make a video regarding about that. Okay, yeah. Now his execution style is a bit funny. Okay, yeah. Other people kind of like talk about a little bit of serious tone. Okay, so this is what it is. Even if you have kind of like executing the same piece of content that everyone does, but your style is a kind of like a bit more different. Okay, and that's the kind of like something unique at its create. Let me tell you one thing: YouTube is not a kind of like a platform where you could find a kind of like one standardized thing regarding about subject. Example is this thing that key. Let's just say I love geopolitics. Okay, yeah, and I wanted to watch a video regarding about geopolitics. Okay, yeah. So there are so many kind of like a people who kind of like make a video regarding about that. Now, which one is kind of like a better? YouTube is not kind of like a decided that. No, whatever you kind of like the creativity or execution process, you just YouTube recommend that video. Like basically is this thing. I like geopolitics video. I like kind of like simply the things that the geopolitics video. So usually in my channel, Nitish Rajput video kind of like recommend me more. I wanted to watch science video, then Get Set Fly or maybe Gaurav Thakur kind of like a video, kind of like a pop up in my timeline. Okay, yeah. It's not meant to be that these are kind of like a channel are really good. No, there are so many channels are like a better and things and that. There is no kind of like a comparison and things and that. But YouTube is kind of like a recommend me these kind of like videos or these creators video is because of that I already familiarize with his content and I like his execution and style and things and that. So I watch. Okay, yeah. Like this is a kind of like a thing. Like basically it's this thing na ki I wanted to know about Bermuda Triangle. Okay, yeah. So I kind of like a search about Bermuda Triangle, what is actually happening in Bermuda Triangle and things and that. And the result kind of like shows multiple YouTube videos and things and that. But there is a kind of like a Dhruv Rathi video is kind of like a seen on the search result. Obviously I will gonna click Dhruv Rathi video and I will gonna watch Dhruv Rathi video. Why? Because I already watched Dhruv Rathi videos. So basically it's this thing I already familiarize with his execution things. So that's why I click it. And when I click that thing, YouTube knows that okay, this particular person loves this creator video. So they kind of like recommend me more and things and that. So basically in the YouTube platform, there is no standardized thing. There is no kind of like simply one person is a kind of like a simply best of everything. No, nothing really at all. Okay, because YouTube is a kind of like a runs on algorithm regarding about personal perspective, like what does people kind of like a thing and what kind of like a content they like. They kind of like recommend such a piece of content regarding about what does people like to watch and things and that and that. Okay, now when I say this thing, that means it kind of like a thing is that na ki you have a kind of like a opportunity to execute piece of content in a various form. Okay, yeah. In various form means what? Means what na ki same piece of content that you could execute in your style. Okay. Now basically what is your style or what is actually my style? Now basically everyone has their kind of like a different style. Okay, yeah. Now different style means what? Okay, like basically it's this thing na ki let's just say I have a kind of like a different style regarding about the way that I consume the content. Okay, yeah. Each person kind of like a create or consume content very differently. Okay, yeah. Like some people like comedy stuff, some people want kind of like a somebody tutorial, some people watch kind of like a lecture and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. It kind of like a represent their style. Okay, yeah. Now if you are considered as a kind of like a YouTuber, or maybe if you are kind of like decided that I wanted to be a YouTuber and I wanted to create a content and things like that, it is really essential to understand your style. But also at the beginning you don't know the style. Okay, yeah. So it is like it is okay to not to know about style. Just kind of like keep doing your stuff, keep making the video, keep kind of like doing the stuff. Okay, yeah. Eventually after some sort of time you will gonna know what is actually your style and your execution style and things and that and that. Okay, so basically is this thing. Okay, now regarding about the question says that ki is there any kind of like a gaps that probably is this thing that ki gap exists in this kind of like a platform where you could perform better as compared to other. Okay, so is there any kind of like a platform or is there any kind of like a genre some people say this thing na ki no, YouTube is a kind of like a very cluttered and things and that like basically is this thing that ki it's a kind of like some people say this thing that ki if we are kind of like entered in kind of like assembly YouTube in 2026, it's very hard to stay and things and that. Why does people say something like that? Is because of that ki they didn't really know, like they consider that YouTube is a kind of like a something the money making platform, but that is not. Okay, that is not. Like, let me tell you one thing, YouTube platform is not meant to be kind of like earn money. Like basically when the YouTube is actually started, it's meant to be kind of like somebody, whatever the idea that you have, you could execute that idea in video format. Okay, yeah, a kind of like a platform based, kind of like a somebody video platform base, where people would kind of like a see your kind of like a somebody thing and that, and people will kind of like connect with you. This is a kind of like a main purpose of YouTube. It's not meant to be kind of like somebody that ki you upload your video and things and that. This monetization system is actually happened very late. Okay, but at the beginning, the core concept of the YouTube is a kind of like a whatever the kind of like a creativity that you have. YouTube is a kind of like a things that it kind of like a showcase to the rest of the world. So this is the main function. Okay, yeah, and that's why most of people are actually bit more confused, that they just think that na ki if I wanted to create a channel, then they wanted to earn money. That is not. Okay, yeah. And also I suggest you that ki do not start YouTube just for kind of like simply earning money. That is not. YouTube is a kind of like a creative place where you could kind of like somebody showcase your creativity. And there are so many ways. Like, let me tell you one thing, a single kind of like some execution, like a single type piece of content can execute in your style, a different style that you are bit really comfortable. It's really good, really great. Like basically it's this thing na ki I still kind of like somebody, and I want to kind of like know couple of things. There are YouTube, like there are very less channel might be exist, or maybe like there are kind of like a less channel is actually exist in Indian space. Okay, or Indian kind of like somebody Indian digital term. Like let me tell you one thing. Okay, the content that you are seeing is kind of like a bit more different in every possible country. Means like that ki let's just say I am belong to the India, so basically YouTube kind of like recommend me specifically more about kind of like somebody Indian creator, maybe kind of like a US creator and things and that, but specifically India, US and things like that. It will not kind of like recommend me a kind of like somebody African creator video unless I kind of like a search exactly about them. Then probably I would kind of like see that. But YouTube is never really kind of like recommend me that. Why is that? Because YouTube knows that you will not gonna watch a kind of like African video unless you really want to see him and things and that. Okay, so same thing happened with the African video too, na? Like basically if the African person kind of like is scrolling through YouTube, they will not gonna see Indian context video and things and that until and unless that particular person kind of like a search about Indian context, then they will kind of like a find and things like that. So this is what it is. This is what kind of like a difference is that thing. Okay, because let me tell you one thing, there are billions of people who are kind of like scrolling through YouTube and things and that. Billion is a very high number. Okay, yeah, and almost like a 2-3 billion people are kind of like somebody's access YouTube and things and that. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing na ki it's a very huge market. Okay, yeah, and every piece of content is not meant for kind of like somebody like everybody, definitely not. So that's why you always have a room for kind of like execute your piece of content. Always have a room regarding about whatever the genre that you have, or regarding about what kind of like a pieces of content that you have. You just need only one thing, a conviction. Okay, because if you don't really have a conviction, you are just chasing the money and kind of like things that I will gonna earn money. It will not. Okay, yeah, you just have to be patient and love the process. It will kind of like really good. Now regarding about the question says that does it have any kind of like some gaps that you could feel that other people cannot able to do this thing? Does it have any kind of like some gaps? Well, there is a one thing that I will not gonna say this thing that other people cannot able to feel this thing. It's a kind of like a things that na ki okay, let me tell you one thing. I create a content regarding about visual storytelling. Okay, yeah. These are kind of like a visual storytelling kind of like a somebody video that I'm creating on YouTube channel, specifically in a short form piece of content. Okay, yeah. There are so less people, or maybe kind of like I didn't really found any kind of like a person who kind of like a create a content regarding about this particular thing or this particular genre. Yeah. very less people, or maybe like I didn't really found any of those people. Okay, visual storytelling poster, there is no one kind of like a creating this piece of content, and I'm kind of like a creating this piece of content, so it's kind of like really fresh, new, and I'm literally comfortable. And probably it's kind of like it's only very hard to people kind of like it's only make the video regarding about this thing, but still I will not gonna sure about that, because the process that I'm doing is not kind of like a exclusive, or maybe it's not kind of like a thing that ki only I could do this thing. No, definitely not. Creativity is actually mine, but execution is kind of like everyone should supposed to be do this thing. Like creativity means like that, like my ideas, my concept, and things and that and that. Okay, these are kind of like something unique to my own. Execution style are bit really same and things and that. So do I found that particular gap? Yes, I found that particular gap. Okay, the gap is always be there, dude. It might gonna take a time regarding about that key recognition and things and that, but gap is always be there. Whatever the piece of content that you wanted to create, just make it, just do it. Okay, you love that particular process, YouTube will kind of like a give that chance. Just be the conviction, like a have something that key you have to definitely have to do this thing, or you have kind of like a serious about this thing. Definitely it will gonna work out. Don't really think about that key like there is no gap and things and that. Definitely not. You always have kind of like a different style regarding about your piece of content, and basically every person has a different style and things and that. And obviously your style maybe kind of like other people will gonna like it, so you just have to keep doing that stuff. All right, so this is it. I should supposed to be end here, and this is the gap that exists in the space probably. Thank you.